Take my hand, I'll show you as well. Hell is cold, it will feather your soul. No, my Father was, He is, and He will always be. She is, and she will always be. Written in the ground.
Right. Yes. Thank you very much to Matt Walker for giving us our pre-show music. Thank you very much. St. Petersburg, Florida's very own Matt Walker. Part of the FST Improv cast as well. Very funny guy and a great musician. And my name again is Will Luera, and welcome to the FST Improv interviews. These are our weekly talks with comedians and directors and teachers from all around the states, all around the world, in fact, and where we get together and talk about the business of comedy, theory of comedy, sometimes just life itself. We'll see where today's interview goes. Before I introduce today's guest, just a reminder of some of the things that we do have going on virtually right now through Florida Studio Theater. On Thursday nights, we do have our Improv Latinx, Improv in Spanish every Thursday night. Every Friday night, we have our FST Improv interviews streaming here on Facebook. On Fridays at 8, we actually have private closed shows that run over Zoom. So if you're ever interested in seeing any of those shows, you could contact me directly and I could get you that Zoom link. Saturday nights at 7 on Instagram, we do our radio call-in show where you get to create your best character and your best bit and call us in. Tomorrow's topic is country music. So whatever character you want to create and bring them on, you can join us at 7 p.m. on Instagram. Then at 8 o'clock, we'll have another show. Actually, tomorrow's 8 o'clock show will be streaming over Facebook. We'll be doing a house party featuring some of our house teams here. We're gonna have we're gonna have Busted and Impromptu doing 25 to 30 minute sets each. But tonight's show, this is our improv interview, and again, I get to have some very awesome, very talented folks. Our guest for tonight, someone I met, I believe we're trying to do the math earlier in the pandemic. I think something like 12 or 13 years ago. Met over at Improv Boston, and we most recently saw each other about 4 years ago. We got to take a special trip. I'm sure we'll be talking about that as well. And we did our trip over to Saudi Arabia. So without further ado, let's welcome to the Zoom room. Let's hear it for Ahmed. Ahmed, come on out, man.
Hey,
Yes.
how's it going?
Good,
Man,
man.
you're busy. You're busy. Hearing that opening, I'm like, wow, you're doing something every day. It's like,
Yeah, man.
being busy.
We are trying to
That's
we're trying to
great.
stay active. At least give
Yeah.
us some like sense of a schedule.
That's good. I'm like, I do one show a month and I'm like, whew, that was a lot. I had to set up a light. I had to put up lights.
Isn't it funny? Like my desk looks so different now
Yeah.
than what it did. I actually, not no joke, I would never use this desk. Like if I
Yeah.
needed to work on my computer, I'd be at the kitchen table, I'd be sitting in the living room, and now I'm always here.
Yeah. Mine, I don't know what is on mine. None of it I've used ever. It's just where I throw junk. And this is a garage. So like I just like
Oh
I
wow!
come in here. Yeah. Tell my family,
Yeah,
don't
man.
come in the garage.
Well, good to see you, man. I know,
Hey, man.
I think last time we chatted was right at the beginning of this whole thing,
Yeah.
where we did a different. I was doing the fireside chats, but then it got too hot
Yeah.
outside. So it was great to catch up then. Now these interviews that we do are actually end up being a lot of fun, not only for the folks that are watching live, but also for our students. A lot of our students like to watch it through the week because we teach
Oh, that's
classes during
cool.
the week. So they'll be
Yeah.
like, they'll come into class and they'll be like, oh, watch the interview, and he said this thing or she said this thing, and I have questions about it. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
man. Thank you for
Yeah, I
engaging our
love
community
that you're
this
always
way.
like teaching. Like it's just like so cool. I feel like it keeps you alive.
Yeah, it does, man. And like I mean, I love growing as a teacher. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm constantly. I went through a thing. Oh man, what was it? It must have been like 2 or 3 years ago. I had to teach my same curriculum, like the same curriculum that I've taught for years, but in one trip I had to teach it 3 times in a course of like 4 days.
Yeah.
It was just a really busy week, and I'll never forget. Halfway through that trip, like on day 3, something happened because I'd been going through over the material so much. I woke up literally in the middle of the night because I started dreaming about how to redo the curriculum in a better way. And
Wow.
literally woke up in the middle of the night and redid my curriculum.
That's
And
awesome.
it was so much
That's
better
also
than it
why
was
you're a
before.
good teacher, because you can tell that you're like you're not bored of it.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like when you mentioned the Saudi Arabia thing, like that it was like an amazing way to go to another country. Is like not go there and we performed, but also teaching. Teaching was like I think that made what that trip so special because we got to like meet young comedians who were like, oh, I want to be funny.
It was nice to be reminded about that trip. I think recently it popped up or something. It was
Yeah,
like, it
I
was a recent memory.
reposted. Yeah, it was like 10
Oh,
years.
yeah, you
because,
did.
because it was like it shocked me at first. I opened my Facebook and they're like, "Hey, here's this picture," and it was us eating from like strangers' plates. Which like now during the pandemic, I just have this like visceral like, "Oh, don't do that."
Yeah.
Why did we do that?
I know. Yeah. What were you thinking, Will and Ahmed? No.
But like how free we were. We were just like
Yeah.
walking in a restaurant with our hands eating off
Putting our hands
like
in other
rice.
people's food.
Like not even like finger food, like rice, communal rice.
Yeah. And it sounds like you didn't clean your hands in between scoops.
No.
No, you just
And it's interesting because I grew up kind of my dad's family would eat with their hands, but
uh-huh.
like they would take rice and they would go like this, like scoop it kind of with their
Yeah.
fingers. But in Saudi Arabia, it was more of a bowl of your hand like that,
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it was interesting. They're kind of teaching you like, oh no, you just put it in your hand and just
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember like Remember we thought they were mad at us for ordering food? Oh, well, they were mad at us for ordering
Yeah.
food because they wanted to share their food with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, we were like, oh man, because we were looking at the menu, and I think I looked over at their plate or something. Oh, that looks good. And they were like, come eat it, eat.
Oh man,
That was, yeah, that was
was
one of the coolest experiences ever.
still to
Yeah.
this day. I talk
Yeah.
about. You know what I brought out the other day because it got chilly here in Florida. I brought out my thobe.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, and
I don't even know where mine is.
I mean, it's perfect on a chilly
Yeah,
night. It's like
that's
it's
awesome.
so good.
I
Yeah,
forgot we went shopping and like, oh man, that was cool.
yeah. I wish I
We
bought. I
tried
mean,
on
I
all
wish
the outfits.
I don't know if I ever told you. I almost went back.
Oh yeah.
I was talking with the club about because we still had the visa. The visa I think was good for another 2 years, and so I was considering going back, but it's
Yeah, I think
expired now.
I would love anytime. I would love to go to any country that way, and that's like the
Yeah.
most interesting way to like see a country is like through an embassy, but then like, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I never realized how much people in embassies are like they're like learning about everyone and like it's just cool.
Mhm.
Like it's an opening
Yeah.
to the country. It's like having someone show you around who's kind of
Yeah.
also new to the place, so they're gonna show like, oh, I didn't know this. I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah, man. Oh,
Yeah, let's do that
so
again.
yeah, I know. Let's go. So I'm glad that I had a chance to schedule you because recently I've had a lot of my I have several. So we have sketch classes here,
Yeah,
and obviously improv classes, and then within that, there's a lot of people that are interested. I'm thinking about a few students specifically that are like, they're doing virtual open mics or there's open air open mics right now and stuff like that, and so they're
yeah,
they're trying stuff out. But I don't consider myself. I mean, I've been starting to do. I was starting to do stand up before the pandemic just to kind of get it in my bones. I've been
yeah,
loving it, but
yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like,
But
okay,
that's
all right,
really yeah. That's what you do. You just do it. You just
you just
go.
do it, yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't know if this is stupid of me, but this has been my strategy during the 8 months was that I'd constantly be, of course, just jotting down material, and then for some reason, what I started to do, maybe this is my improv brain, is that the day of my open mic set, I'd look at everything, and then I would just start to put my set together,
yeah,
right, and then the whole day it's just running through my head, and then I do it, and then I have a huge sigh of relief.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, and like my personal strategies. I'm like, I always try to have one. I look at the news of that day, so I try to get
yeah.
something topical.
That's great.
I incorporate a lot of storytelling because I just that's kind of my primary
Yeah.
way of telling comedy, and then maybe one or two jokes that I've made up. But I mean,
That's
that's
fun.
me.
I want to see you do a set.
Oh. I wish like when we did on that trip, I wish I was already practicing. That would've been fun.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have what's your strategy? I mean, I've had the privilege of watching you
Yeah,
doing
I
comedy.
mean, it's kind of like changes all the time, I guess. Like when I first started, I was similar. Like, I was very nervous about like stage fright or just like kind of a shy person in general, and I still kind of have that. So there is like this element of fear. So I would go over I would write it and like I would indent like where there was a transition or something. I would memorize it, and it was kind of you'd go up there and you just kind of do it, and you
Yeah.
almost weren't really there, like in a way. You're just like
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. Just because you're on your track, you're saying your lines. You're like, okay, my next line coming up, boom boom boom. But then like I was like, oh, like now it's kind of a little bit more like you have your jokes that are strong, so you can pull those out if things are going bad. But I kind of like to leave it open to like, oh, what do I want to do?
Oh wow,
A little
that's
bit
so
more,
interesting.
but it depends on the show too.
Right.
If
But
it's like a
you're
show,
right.
like you're trying to knock it out of the park, you maybe write a set list. But there's something fun about kind of seeing what the crowd is into a little bit
Yeah.
and kind of feeling them out, and then
So
talking
like
out a joke.
like if you're doing something like high profile, right? You have a prepped set list that or you're
Yeah,
going
for
through.
sure. I mean, I
Yeah.
think like I admire like some comics like they almost always try to open with something like new because
Yeah.
you could just feel it that they're like being honest and like saying a real thought rather than like
Mm-hmm.
this prepared thing. But I get nervous about that. Like I need something in the beginning to just like let them be cool with me, and then I'll veer off.
Yeah. And then of course you're reading the audience and then adjust it on the fly.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like a lot of times like I'll have like a catalog of jokes in my head, and I'll go kind of by topic a little bit. Like I'll be like, oh, I got some animal jokes, and I'll kind of like rifle through those, because otherwise if I just go all over the place, then
Yeah.
I don't know what jokes I've done ever. So if I at least go by category, I'll be like, let me exhaust this category, and then I'll move on. I won't do every joke in that category that I have, but it'll help me know where my place on stage. Like if I'm doing like
Mhm.
a long like hour set, I don't want to like throw some animal jokes in and then run out of jokes by the end and go, what did I think I had a dog joke left. I don't know.
Wait. So are animal jokes a big thing for you? Because
Yeah, actually I do. I really, it's kind of like when I first started doing comedy, I always had like at least like one animal joke that I would do. and it's just stuck with me. I'm always like, and they're some of my favorite jokes. So I always, whenever I'm like, I need to think of new jokes, I'll go to animals. I'm like, there's something else funny about animals.
No. Now, is there a specific animal that's more inspiring than others?
Yes, I'd say I've written the first joke I ever did on stage, and like maybe now they're all different, but birds always, like something about birds, like they always inspire me to think of something funny about them. And I think it's because they're kind of the most wild animal that we get very close to all the time.
Yeah.
Like cats and dogs, those are pets that we've domesticated, but like birds are still just like totally wild, but they're like at your window in the morning.
Yep.
So you're just interacting with them a lot and seeing like their
We
weird
ended up
quirks.
having some pet birds, and they mated. They made two new birds, so now then we had four birds.
Wow.
But I mean, we thought we domesticated them.
Yeah.
We thought, but man, they just
Birds are smart. They can.
we oh yeah, we were cleaning the cage one day. We were cleaning the cage one day, and one of them, like as we were cleaning the cage, we opened it. We opened the door, cleaning. The mom and dad who have been there forever, they never tried anything. But the
Yeah.
new one, like the cage opens and she just goes, boom. And not only that, she goes, boom, and then zooms and leaves the house.
Wow.
Never to be seen again. And like the whole time, I'm like, you've been plotting this. Like you have been like
that guy always opens the door.
yeah, that guy leaves that door open just enough, and I think I can do this. I just need a chance, and then the chance came. It was time to clean the cage. Yeah, and unfortunately, that bird's sibling attempted to do the same thing through a different door, but we learned, and so when like it was the next cleaning, here we go. And then the sibling, we already lost bird number one. Bird number two then goes, phew, boom, the other way. But unfortunately, there was not a screen. Well, there was a mesh screen in front of the other door.
Oh.
So the poor bird got to the mesh screen and kind of just hit the brakes.
Ooh. Oh, he hit the brakes. That's good.
Yeah, he hit the brakes on the wing brakes.
That's skill.
Yeah, and we brought it back to the cage, but it actually. We had empathy then for the birds that we ended up making an aviary outside.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's humongous, and they all get to have fun out there.
That's great.
Yeah. So,
I find them humorous. Like my first one ever was just about how kids chase birds, and like what would they do if they caught one, and the joke was just me acting out like a kid catching a bird, just going like, and there was a lot of mic sound. I would try to find places on my body to hit the mic.
Yeah. So I've seen you do that before, like using the mic in comedy, which
I love that.
And not in a sound effects way or whatever, but just like
sometimes, depends. I think even like I love like taking the microphone away and like yelling, because it just sounds different than if you yelled into the mic.
Yeah.
If you do a joke where someone's like yelling, you're like, oh, it just kind of adds this fun element, I think.
Yeah.
And I love that about stand-up, where you kind of only have a mic and a stand and maybe a stool, and it's like so minimal. But then I like being able to use those things because those are kind of what we all have. And like a curtain, I love a curtain because you could always hide behind a curtain. You could always use it for stuff. And not that I want to like constantly be doing that, and that's fine if you're like a prop comic or something. But like I like to do it minimally, but it's fun to go like, oh, this is my tool. This like mic stand here can play as this sometimes, or the stool can be this, or even just the what can I do with this thing?
Yeah,
it's fun to kind of use all the parts.
That is so interesting. So you are now doing like virtual shows.
Yeah.
Right? So no mic.
Playing. No mic. I'm playing with like going off and on camera. Yeah, the mic, missing the mic sucks. A lot of comics will even, at first I even just would hold something because it just feels more right.
Yeah.
But then it's just silly sometimes too. But some comics have a mic. I gotta buy a mic because there's just jokes I can't do actually because I don't have a mic. Like I have like a joke that is a sound effect where it's like me turning off a ceiling fan, and most of it is just like the but close to the mic. And like sometimes I'll even go into it when I'm at a show where the mic's not good, and I'll be like, oh no, it's not gonna work. Like, or even that bird joke. Sometimes that bird joke, the mic's not hot enough, so it's not getting the sound. I mean, it's still funny to just be flailing, but that sound has a little extra punch.
Yeah. Now, when we go ahead.
Oh well, it kind of one time I heard this magician talk about like he would do this magic trick where he make like a bottle disappear in a bag or something, and it was a really cool trick, but people would kind of not clap ever. And eventually he just realized all he had to do was like he'd put the bottle down on the table, and it just the sound of that, everyone would applaud. Same trick, but it just needed like a little like I'm done, and they go yeah. So I think like stuff like that is like interesting with the audience, like group think, or just like how do we get people to know the trick's done and it's great.
So interesting. That is so interesting. Like,
yeah,
really
and it wasn't that people didn't like the trick; they liked it. They just kind of they're like, "Wow, that's cool." But when the boom, they're like, "Yeah!"
Wow. Yeah. I'm like thinking, does it give them a sense of completion, or does it give them permission to applaud? Like, wow, like that is so interesting,
so powerful. I think I always have that story in my mind when I'm thinking about why isn't this joke getting a laugh or something.
Yeah,
I don't want to throw out the joke necessarily, but maybe it's just I'm not telling everyone when to laugh together or when to,
Yeah, that permission. Yeah, that we sometimes need. So let me ask a couple questions because I also want to talk about writing, sketch writing. So, when do you retire a joke? Is there a time?
I go back and forth between what I like. Sometimes it's like I kind of think when you put it on your album, you're not going to put it on your next album. But I'm still going to do that joke in clubs when I'm working because you need your time. You need more time. And you just kind of don't want to lose a joke. But you kind of retire the ones that you think. I guess I never really retire a joke.
Okay.
But like unless it's like on an album, I'm not going to put these jokes on my next album.
Right.
So there I'll keep them separate. But I always want to have my bag of tricks. Like jokes are just more tricks you have. Yeah. So, and I'm not like famous. So maybe if you're like a really big famous comedian, you don't want to tell the same joke every time live.
Yeah.
But most of the time, these people in the audience are probably not going to have heard every one of your previous jokes. So as long as you're not telling the same like set the whole time, you could throw in a joke from 10 years ago. No one will have heard it,
Got it. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I always want to mix it up and do new stuff to keep myself change. And eventually jokes might just disappear. But the good ones, you kind of can never get rid of them. Kind of, it's just like it's like your fastball. You're just like, this crowd sucks. I gotta throw this joke that I know works at them or something.
Now, is there a time along the same lines? Is there a time when you have to like, before it even fully blossoms, like a joke that you've been taking care of and nurturing, and it just, and then you have to throw it away. You have to throw it away.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess I know friends that will put a number on it. Like they'll be like, I'll try a joke 3 times, doesn't work, I'm done. I don't really have that, but for me, it's like if you tell it enough times and it bombs, you don't really want to tell it anymore. You just like, you kind of get a bad taste in your mouth, right? But for me, I try to have the philosophy that any joke idea is probably good enough to turn into a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not working, it's probably my fault, or it's probably, I'm not, there's something there. So I kind of always keep those ideas somewhere, and maybe I'll never try them again. But in my head, I'm like, one day I'm going to make that tree bit work. I'm going to figure that one out.
What if you add birds to the tree?
Yes, then it's perfect. See? But yeah, because I don't know. I think if you think something's funny enough to write down, it's usually probably somewhat funny.
Yeah.
And when you tell it and it's not getting a laugh, it might just be because you're not getting them on the same page that you were when you thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I think.
Now, okay, so let me take that and transition it over to sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now, do you work from the same space when you're working on stand up and sketch? Is it coming from the same part of your brain?
No, I don't think so. Actually, I think they're kind of they feel different. I guess at least, because stand up, it's like a commentary on something. I guess like, oh, this story in my life, and you're kind of telling it. Whereas like a sketch, I guess I just picture it being a scene with little actors. So, so I'm not going to be telling the whole thing, or I don't know. The energy is very different, or like the sketch group that I'm in, Dead Kevin, we do like YouTube sketches, and sometimes people will try to get us to do live sketches, but to me, that's a completely different thing too. Just feels different, or like you can't have kind of, at least you can, but maybe it's harder to do like awkward beats in a live show because it just kind of feels like no energy is going on. Like I feel like when you're live, sometimes there's a little bit more energy going on, or just you can't tell them what to look at. With a video, it's like, okay, now look at this guy's face. Now look at this thing. Here's this part, Whereas a live thing, you just kind of have to have the whole thing living at once. I don't know. It's
Do you in your sketch group? Is it collaborative? Like, do you write your sketch and then give it to somebody else, or you write sketches together?
With them, we kind of rarely ever like physically wrote it out. It would usually be an idea. Mostly, it would almost be like improv in a way, because a lot of times we were still making it up as we were filming it. Unfortunately for the person filming it, because like, what are you guys doing? Like, we're not sure yet. We'll find something funny. So yeah, there's a little bit of kind of playing off of each other a lot, just with the three of us. Like we kind of know, and we've been doing it so much that we kind of know like what our energies are and like when to like join in as a team. So it does feel a lot like an improv like show in a way, and then we edit it. But so usually it's just there's a gem there somewhere. It's like, oh, that'd be funny if this, and then we're like, that's funny enough to kind of now get it up and see, okay, maybe I'm on the couch, or maybe you're over there. So it's very, very probably not the way you want to teach how to write sketches, but it's a really great way to perform it, because I think sometimes it feels fresh to you as an actor, I guess, and and you're like really responding to each other, so it keeps you a little bit. You're not worried about like, oh, then I'm supposed to say this, and then we will, as we're going, oh, you got to say this for it to like work or whatever. But it's pretty loose.
Do you restart each time? Like you're like, okay, let's do it again, but this time do this, or is it stop and go? You're just like, okay, we got to this point. Let's.
It's pretty organic, and sometimes it's like really, I don't know how it ever worked, but we don't really have a director. Sometimes my sister will be there, but it's just kind of us directing each other, and it's just we kind of feel it out. Like sometimes the sketch is so simple where you don't need to go through all that, but every once in a while you have to massage it, and either you'll start over or you might go, you know what? No, that's not the good beginning. Let's do this. And it kind of helps us know like what's making us laugh in the moment. And that's kind of usually what feeds the sketch. It's just like, that's making me laugh. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. Now I do want to, let's see, ask one more thing before maybe we'll start to move towards the finish here. Now, do you write for others, or do you write for TV shows or anything like that?
I write on my TV show, Dream Corp LLC, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm in the writer's room. I don't have to write out the script. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
more like there when we're like breaking the story or like trying to brain like workshop stuff, which I
Mm-hmm.
love. That's like my more favorite way to write. Like
Yeah.
I love just being in the room and kind of either taking in someone's idea and be like, yes, yes, I'm going to do this, or kind of machine gunning a bunch of ideas. Like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And, it's just that's the part I like. But I'm
Yeah,
not. I never have to physically go. Okay, let's now put it down. Like
but somebody is doing that.
somebody is doing that. Yeah,
Somebody's in there. I'm
that's
definitely
hard.
like that second like the machine gunning, right?
Yeah,
That is, I know that is me in the writer's room. Like I am
yeah,
definitely
and it's valuable.
like I was very proud, like whenever in some of the sketch groups that I used to work with in Boston, I was always very proud that like many of my ideas would become sketches. Did I
Yeah,
write them? Nope, I didn't write any of them.
yeah.
But I was happy to be inspiring the
Well,
funny
that's what's
people.
great about that process. That's what I love about like a writer's room,
Hmm.
and that's why I guess I like to do the sketches that way too. Is like it's feeding off of each other, and it's not always one person's idea in the end.
Hmm.
And you almost can't even recognize whose idea it was at the
Right.
end. And that's
Because
like
I always,
I think a good writer's room. I mean, I guess you want to funnel it through a certain voice. The director and
yeah,
showrunner will do that,
sure,
but providing just more thoughts
yeah,
because when you are writing, they dry up. Like
yeah,
you can bang your head against the wall and be like, I'm in a dead end. But three other people in the room were like, what about this? What about this? No, no, no. All of them don't work, but now we found the one that works because we
yeah.
said those out loud or something.
Right. Yeah, like I've always found like in a good balanced writers room, right? You have the people that are the pitching the ideas, right there. You have the people that are
Yeah.
right. Then you have like the people that are really good at like refining or editing.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
they'll take that and they'll be like, oh, we could be a lot more efficient like this. And then you like at least in my writers room, the balanced ones. Then you have the ones. Then you have like the joke people, the ones that are like this line, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's like I hate how funny you are.
Yes. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really could, if I could do that for the rest of my life, I would just be in a writer's room, like
Yeah.
making up stuff.
Yeah. Man, cool. That's great. I mean, this is we have a lot of, like I said, we have some sketch classes with that have when you get to into our level 2 and 3 sketch classes, you're working in the writer's room, and I think it's tough to find that. Sometimes you can see
Yeah.
people that just want to hold on to their baby the whole time and
Yeah. And you
just
can't do that
push
too.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, like I like to never really shut down anyone's idea in a way. I mean, I think it's important to have people that do that. But I think sometimes if I hear someone go, what about, I'm just like, all right, let's hear this guy out and let's try to make this guy's idea work. But if it doesn't work, you just got to move on, And like,
Yeah.
if the room's kind of like, like you can't really like fight the room. Like, no, it's this or nothing. It's like, then you go do it by yourself,
Yeah, you're so right. I didn't mention like that one person. I mentioned like 5 other roles, but there's that sixth role, very important that you just mentioned. The person who just says, "Nope, we're moving on."
Yeah, you
The
need
bad
that.
cop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't working.
yeah. Let's move on, Ahmed.
Yeah.
Leave the
Okay,
bird
you're
and
right.
tree
You're right.
joke
I'm sorry.
alone.
You're right. Okay, fine. I'm telling you, it's gonna work.
Oh man, yeah. I do have like some students that are interested in. I think like every community that's not LA or New York, you have students that are interested in moving to LA and New York, and they're
Yeah.
definitely like, okay, once I get there, how do I? What do I do? Like, how do I get my
Yeah.
material out there? Who do I give it to? Who do I show up?
Yeah.
Any thoughts or suggestions on that? Like,
I mean, I think that's like I feel like the biggest answer is just have to put in a lot of time,
yeah,
whatever, like maybe you're going to know someone, maybe you're going to meet someone, but you just have to be willing to invest a lot of time. And so whatever that is, if you're stand up, you just got to go to open mics and meet people and,
yeah,
don't meet people for like the purpose of um, networking. I think you could just feel that off of people. It's really just like meeting people, getting to know the community, and then kind of finding where you fit in. And it's like if you're an actor, go to acting classes, and if you like these actors,
mm,
start hanging out with those actors and just talk to them, and not that they're going to give you something, but you're going to understand the community more, and you're going to have people that you can kind of work with, or you can, and then, agencies and things like that. And just, always be trying to get yourself out there. But I think for me, the more important work is like the groundwork, like just like go to where people are doing what you want to do. Yeah. As long as you're welcome, don't like break into the movie studio. But it's like, get an internship, just get stuff, like just be around, make friends, so that you just kind of aren't alone, and know people, not necessarily people that are going to give you a job, just other people that are doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you'll just you'll know where to go after that, I think.
That's awesome. That's great. That's really good. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that. Sometimes get a little too impatient.
Yeah, it's like, I wrote this great thing. Why isn't a studio making it right now?
The most humbling thing that ever happened to me in my brief 2-year flirtation with LA. I was going back and forth between Boston and LA. But the biggest, most eye-opening thing to me was the first time we had a meeting on the Universal lot after a very successful pitch of some other shows. We get into the room. We're ready to talk about this pitch the pitch that opened the room. This pitch opened the door for us. We're here. We're ready to talk about it. Most eye-opening thing. The moment we sat down, the first question they asked was, "What else do you got?" And then I was just like, "Damn!" And my brain was like, I don't know what else to talk about right now. It was very humbling, very humbling. And I mean, that night,
I've had a lot of those kind of moments where you're just like, "Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought we were going to talk about this thing."
I thought you were just going to give me a job.
Yeah. Man, I do want to end with one of my favorite things when talking to you. But now I can't.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd it go? Hold on, wait. Let me close this thing up, and I'll try that again. Let's see. Dead air time.
I'll sing. You don't look any older. We got to see what's in there now.
I don't think I ever. Oh, I got to go once in your room. I got to explore it once.
I allowed you in once.
Yeah.
This is
but
it.
Still one of my favorite memories. Not only ever, but I mean, it was the presidential suite. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that President Obama stayed there.
I think that he did.
Yeah.
Or at least Trump did.
But that was after us.
Oh, that was after us. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because Trump had just been voted in when we went there.
Oh yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, people had a lot of questions for us.
Yeah. Remember they had the cardboard cutouts of Trump and Hillary on stage for us?
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
We were like, oh, what?
Oh man. Well, that was great, man. Well, this was so helpful. I think our students are really going to value
Oh, awesome.
this.
Great.
Yeah, they're really going to, I mean, we have students that are, just kind of finding their way right now, taking a lot of risks, writing a lot of things, trying to find stage time, and, being able to hear from somebody who's been through the trenches, who's put the work in, is awesome. So I appreciate your time with us.
Well, enjoy their time there, because I think that is some of the best times when you're young and meeting other people that you like doing stuff with. So soak that in too.
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, we'll have to do another episode where we just talk about our nightmare Airbnb stories, because I've got quite a few to share. Cool, man. Well, everyone, this is Ahmed and Will, and thank you so much for watching the FST Improv interviews. I know you have a audition coming up, Ahmed.
I gotta memorize a song.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck with that.
Okay, bye.
All right. Take care. Bye, everybody.